Welcome back to another series of Halacha for women. We are continuing the series called Otzar Dinim in Halacha number 23. Today, Rav Yosef Shata is going to show us the importance of not visiting a cemetery unnecessarily. After a person exits the cemetery, they need to wash their hands. Nevertheless, we need to clarify this halacha. One should not increase his attendance in a cemetery. And how much more so a woman should not increase her attendance in a cemetery. For the concern that the outer forces, which are the evil spirits, which are known in Hebrew as klipot, they will attach themselves to the person that is visiting the cemetery. The Gaon Vilna writes, "V'tishmor, one should guard themselves, shelo telech lebeit hakevorot klal uklal, that one should not attend a cemetery at all. Ki sham midbakim biklipot meod, because in the cemetery, the person that is visiting the cemetery, he gets attached by many klipot, which in effect causes a lot of troubles. Like he says, and how much more so a woman shouldn't attend the cemetery because of all the klipot that's going to get attached to her. Comes the Gaon Vilna and he says, people don't realize why do they have so much troubles in their life? Why do they suffer in their life? Why do people sin? The Gaon Vilna says all a person's suffering and troubles and all a person's sins come because of this. Because when a person visits a cemetery, because of the klipot that get attached to the person over there, and it's a lot of them, that is going to cause you, chasu shalom, tzarot. It's going to cause suffering and troubles. And that's what causes a person to do sins. And that's what Rav Yosef Shita says over here. He wanted to go ahead and try to clarify this halacha by not visiting the cemetery, because it's not so simple. A lot of times people want to go on Mother's Day or Father's Day, whatever it is, they want to go put flowers by the cemetery, and so on and so forth for different reasons. Rav Yosef Shita is bringing down from Gaon Vilna, one should not attend a cemetery at all unless it's levaya, chas v'shalom, or your type, but otherwise they should not attend. Even a woman who wants to make her husband happy and go to see her mother-in-law and father-in-law, she should not attend. It is very crucial for women to know that. We need to understand, women don't have that protection that men have. Men have a certain protection because they learn Torah. A woman, her protection is her modesty. But unfortunately, we see too many times, even in the cemetery, when people come, you have people come very immodest. And that is the last thing you want to do, to come to a cemetery immodest. Don't you believe one day you're going to die? Don't you believe one day you're going to have to give an accounting? The Gemara Masechet Berachot says, even if you see a modest woman who has entered into a cemetery, if you see that, let's say she was walking like this, she went to a cemetery, now she's walking back towards you, the Gemara says you should jump on the other side, you should move away from her as fast as possible. Why? You shouldn't go on head to head with her. Why? The Gemara explains, because the Malach HaMavet, the angel of death, he is with his sword, and he says, anybody who comes across me, I'm able to come now and kill the person on the spot. And if he doesn't kill the person on the spot, he could cause him other troubles and suffering. This is why it is very crucial for women not to enter the cemetery, especially when they're not modest. Comes Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shita, now he's going to explain that there's also periods when a woman can enter the cemetery. Right? We know that a woman has niddah days, when she's seeing blood. We know she has clean days, when she's, right, when that's after her period, before the mikvah period. In all these periods, when can a woman enter the cemetery and when can she not? Let's see this a little bit more in depth. When it comes to the concept of a woman visiting a cemetery, even though halachically she's not doing anything wrong, We cannot say that she did an Avera like eating pig. That we'll never say. Because according to the letter of the law, a woman is allowed to enter into a cemetery. Nevertheless, he says, Nachon leharot lenashim limanei milvaker bebet hakevarot. It's correct for women, nevertheless, he says, it's correct to educate the woman to refrain from visiting the cemetery. Bifrat bimei vestan, especially in the days of the period. So, Rav Yitzchak Yosef is telling you two things. Number one, even if you are 100% clean, you should not attend the cemetery. And especially when you're seeing the period, when you're seeing a blood flow, you should not be attending the cemetery. Why? Because we find many great rabbis that they were stringent in this matter. Like his brought down in the sefer called Pitchei Teshuvah, it's actually in Acharon, it's a later generation rabbi that has comments on the Shulchan Aruch. And he brings it down the name of the Chamudei Daniel. שנהגו אנשים שלא ללך לבית החיים להתפלל בימי נידתן. He says that the custom, the practice of the woman is not to attend a cemetery, to go ahead and daven there in the days of the period. ומנהג נכון הוא. The Chamudei Daniel wants to say that this is the correct practice. That when a woman is in need, she shouldn't go ahead and go to a cemetery to pray. והובא בטהרת הבית חלק ב' וכתב. Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlomo is bringing down now his father Chacham Ovadia Yosef Zatzal, and he brought this opinion down and he wrote, when are we going to tell you that a woman should not attend a cemetery to go ahead and pray there? That specifically is at the time when she's seeing a flow of blood. But this wouldn't be the case. This wouldn't be the case if she's already wearing white undergarments where they still did not go to the mikvah. Basically, Chacham Ovadia is telling us like this. This Chamudei Daniel that is telling a woman she shouldn't go to the mikvah, that is specifically when she's seeing her period. But once she stops seeing her period, she has 7 clean days that she has to wait. That's why we say she has to wear white undergarments, because we want to make sure that no blood falls on, no blood comes out without her paying attention to it. So that's going to be a protection to show us that blood came out. So Chacham Ovadia says, in her 7 clean days, we're going to allow her to go ahead. If she has to go to pray, we're going to allow her to go and pray. Because just it happens every single day. We have girls that are not married, and they go to the cemetery to pray. Right? They go by the righteous rabbis to go to pray to them. It's not a problem. Why? He says from there you see clearly, they're not going in the days when they're seeing their period. It's after their period, but a woman, a girl who's not married, she doesn't go to the mikvah until the day of marriage. So clearly you see, you are allowed to go ahead to a cemetery to daven in 7 clean days. Nevertheless, he said, so he comes in and he says, and so it seems that this is the way Chemdat Moshe also holds his opinion, that during the 7 clean days, you would be allowed to visit the cemetery to go ahead and daven. Amnam, however, he says, B'Sefer Chaye Adam, Katav, but the Sefer Chaye Adam, another later generation rabbi, a very big rabbi, he wrote, Venirally, he says, it seems to me, Shelo yikansu nashim nidot lebet hakevorot ad sheitavlu. A woman who is in nidah, even in her 7 clean days, she should not attend a cemetery, even to daven there. V'chein katav ha-Mishnah Berurah, and so too the Mishnah Berurah also wrote like that a woman, even according to this, even girls that were never married, they should never attend, because he expects them to go to the mikvah. And by us, we don't allow women to go to the mikvah until the day of marriage. But Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shlomo says that this opinion of the Chaye Adam and the opinion of the Mishnah Berurah that do not allow a woman to go to the mikvah, that do not allow a woman to go to the cemetery in the 7 clean days, and for sure a girl to go to the cemetery before her wedding day, meaning before she goes to the mikvah, this is an extra stringency. It's an unnecessary stringency. Why? He He says, one second, when it comes for a woman to go to a shul, to a Beit Knesset to daven, the Ramah paskins, the Ashkenazic rabbi, he paskins that if a woman is in nida when she's seeing her period, she shouldn't attend. But in the days of the 7-day period where she's cleaning herself out, the Ramah says clearly she's allowed to go to the Beit Knesset. And also the Chai Adam, he himself wrote that the same thing. He says, and that was the minhag in his place, that was the practice. So he says like this, and it makes sense. You cannot be more stringent in the laws of the cemetery more than the laws of a Beit Knesset. That means if by the Beit Knesset the Ramah allows a woman in her 7 clean days to attend and daven in shul, so therefore she could go ahead and also attend and go and pray in a cemetery by the righteous tzaddikim. Also the Chatam Sofer brothers down, you're allowed to do it. Ein Sham. Okay, he says, look into Yalkut Yosef regarding when Chas Shalom Lolenu in the laws of mourning, regarding escorting a dead person. Fine. וכבר כתב המהרש"ם בהגותיו לאורחות חיים החדש, שפעם אחת באה אישה ממרחק לבקר אצל קברי הוריה ופרסה נידה. One time the Maharsham, he had a question. There was a lady that she came from far away. Sometimes it happens also. People ask me this question. A person comes from Israel to visit their parents over here on Cooper Avenue or on 49th exit, right? So, but this case over here was, she became a nida on that day. On that day she was supposed to visit her parents. She became a nida, but she has to also leave. She came from far away, now she has to leave. He says he allowed her to go ahead and visit her parents by the cemetery, by the grave plot. So too, like we will allow women to go and daven on the high holidays by the Kivri Tzadikim, by the righteous rabbis, in order to be able to satisfy them, even when they are actually seeing their period. So he says, same thing over here. So over here, if by the Yomi'im Naro'im we're going to allow her to go by the high holidays, we're going to allow a woman to go ahead and pray for herself or for her family, whatever she needs to pray for, if we're going to allow her there, so too we're going to allow her, this lady in our case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to allow her to go ahead and visit her parents even though she sees blood, because we do not want to cause her any anguish. Rabotai, but here's the punchline. This is all the details. So basically, in short, what we're going to tell you is like this. In the time when a woman is seeing her period, can she be lenient? Yes. Can she be lenient to visit her parents, say it's the Yortzeit day? Yes. Can she go ahead and daven by tzaddikim? Yes. Is it better to be stringent and try to go when it's during the 7 clean days? If she can, for example, she doesn't live far away, it's only because it's inconvenience her. Let's say it's a Sunday, right? And she wants to go on a Sunday instead of a Monday because she has to go to work on Monday. For that, we're not going to allow her. Let's say the Sunday is her day where she actually is going to stop seeing the period, and the Monday is already when she's going to start counting the clean day. Over there, we're going to tell you, absolutely not. You shouldn't go on a Sunday when you're seeing the period. You should go on a Monday on the 7th clean day. Again, if you live far away or for whatever other reason, under special circumstances where you can't come back, whatever the situation might be, then we're going to allow you to go ahead even on the day when you do see the period. But however, he does say over here that when it comes to any other reason but this what you just mentioned, if you're not visiting your parents, and if you're not going to daven by the Kivri Tzadikim, by the righteous rabbis, look what Rav Yitzchak Yosef Shita says. Va'amnam, however, lilo hasibot hanal, without the reasons that we mentioned above, ein laharbot levaker bebeit kvorot. You should not increase your attendance in the cemetery. Oh, I have to go with my husband. Oh, I have to go. My father-in-law called me. Oh, I have to go with my friend. She wants me to come with her. You cannot do that. There are certain exceptions we'll give you, but more than that, if it's not those reasons, do not attend a cemetery. So he says one more time, and by the way, this is also for men. I'm not speaking about only women. Since it's a women's class, I'm directing it more towards women, but it's also for men. Watch this one more time. However, but if it's not for the reasons above, even a man who has to go ahead and visit his parents, or he wants to go daven, otherwise he should not increase going to the cemetery for other reasons. And how much more so a woman, for the concern, for the concern because of the klipot that are going to attach to the person that visits there. And that's what Rav Chaim brought in the beginning of the Halacha. The Gaon Vilna writes, ותשמור שלא תלך לבית הקברות כלל וכלל, כי שם מדבקים בקליפות מאוד. A person should guard himself not to go to the cemetery at all, because over there you have a lot of klipot that attach to the person that visits the cemetery. And how much more so women shouldn't attend. וכל הצרות והבנות באים מזה. He says, all a person's troubles and all a person's sins come because of this. So we do see today of the importance of how careful a woman has to be not to unnecessarily attend a cemetery. Again, if you have to go for whatever reason, please consult your local rabbi if you should go or not, and also make sure that the rabbi is fluent in the halachot of the cemetery. It's not so posh, it's not so simple just to go. You have to understand. The Gaon Vilna, when he says that rule that a person should not attend the cemetery at all, he's making a blank statement. And he was one of the biggest rabbis that has ever lived on planet Earth. And we even, if you ever learn Halacha, if you ever learn Gemara, if you ever learn Shulchan Aruch, he has explanation on it. So to go against him, it's going to be very hard to say, okay, what does he know? Our minhag is to go. You need to understand. We said before, it's not an avera. You're not doing a sin by going. But you have to understand you're bringing suffering and troubles and sins are going to come out of this, because attending a cemetery, you have over there klipot. The outside, the evil forces, they attach to the person. And you have to just understand, just imagine this. You wake up one morning, you're so happy, you're so excited, you want to go out, you're full of life. Yeah, your friend drives you to work together and she's not happy, she's not in the mood, she has a negative attitude towards everything. By you being in the car with her, that's going to affect how you're going to be able to perform that day. Same thing with the cemetery. When a person attends a cemetery, it's going to affect your performance. It's going to affect your performance in work, in serving Hashem, and that's where all the Chas v'Shalom problems come out. B'ezrat Hashem, Rabotai, we should try to understand this halacha correctly. May Hashem bless us with 120 years of strong, healthy life, with a lot of parnasa. May we see nachat from our children, ourselves, our spouses, and everything else we do. May Hashem always bless us. Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen ve'Amen.